With less than 2 weeks to go before the season opener against Fort Valley State, our focus today is on the big guys up front, the offensive line for the Statesmen, headed up by O-line coach Jim Beverly. All right, Coach Beverly, talking about the offensive line today, let's discuss how you think they've done progressing through the spring and through camp so far.
It depends on what day you ask me, but after today, I feel pretty good right now. Of course, you're going to watch film, and I'll be mad. But, we started with, I said, 1 billion mistakes. We cut it down to 500,000. And in scrimmage, I felt like we had about 100,000. So now, we're getting on down there to $500,000 or 200, $250,000. So we're improving. We're improving. We've got a long ways to go.
What have been maybe the biggest improvements your line has made since day one of camp to now?
Probably the freshmen, the young guys. Had a few surprises there. Young guys I didn't expect to contribute right away. And they're getting in and learning, and they're able to jump in and contribute. And the older guys, we expected them to come in and do what they've done, but the young guys is really a nice surprise.
Talk about the difficulties for the new guys, even returns who have to learn a new system and get all the techniques down.
Well, for new guys, it's playing offensive line is such a cerebral position. You're moving refrigerators, but it's all coordinated. So you can't just be strong and fast, which is tough for an 18-year-old kid to come into college and do. But he's got to be able to do that and perform on top of that and think mentally. So, I mean, it's just physically and mentally, it's very hard for freshman offensive linemen to play. And we've got some good ones that are going to be good in the long run.
And what do you think is going to be the biggest improvement your line has to make heading out towards September 1st's opener?
Between now and September 1st, we still got a lot of little mental busts. Physically, I think when we're on point, when we know what we're doing, I think we can do our jobs. But it's all those little mental mistakes because, as I told them on the first day, none of it's brain surgery. But you put it all together, it becomes a lot of material to learn.
And you mentioned surprises before. Who have been your surprises of camp, or guys that you can probably depend on when the season comes?
Well, out of the young guys. One guy got a little banged up today, but Daniel LaRocca has done a great job. He had, offensive. He's the strongest high school football player coming out of Louisiana history, and he's here at Delta State. And we're proud of that. But so we knew physically he could do it, but he's very smart mentally too. And so he makes the calls, and he's done a great job, as well as Big Edward Boley today. The guy got the thought of the day right. He's definitely another nice surprise. And Smithson is a young guy that's going to be good. Taking him out here in a couple of years, he'll be making a run for all conference.
And how does it help those young guys you mentioned to have a guy like Lex and Kendall around to learn from as well, played for a few years?
It's definitely good. It's new to all of them. So in the spring, it was like they were all freshmen, but at least they've been around enough to where a down block's a down block, a trap block's a trap block. So that stuff doesn't change. It's just all new terminology. So the confidence of stepping in there and moving guys out has definitely spread to these young guys, and it's made all the difference in the world between spring and now, the confidence level.
In the offensive line, just talk about how you think they've progressed throughout camp so far.
I think they've really improved here the last few days. Probably the last 3 and going into the scrimmage really did a lot of good things. He's had a lot of new guys he's trying to implement in there with our freshmen, and they've really made a good impact. I think there's probably going to be 2 or 3 of them that are probably going to travel with us and maybe get some significant playing time. So pleased with their development so far. Obviously got a ways to go, but we're getting better every day.
What do you think has been their biggest improvement from day one of camp to now?
I think probably fundamentals. When you first start, you're just trying to figure out who to block. And once you figure that out, then you can start really working on the fundamentals, the steps and things. So I think we've really improved over this week and a half of our fundamentals as far as we know where to go, now just getting there in the right technique. And so that's what I'm pleased with most of all is our fundamentals.
And talk about the difficulties, not only for the newcomers, but the returners as well, who have had to adjust to a new system and get all the blocking techniques down for really something they haven't run before.
Yeah, it's hard. And even the guys we had here in the spring, it was so short and they were new, and we were tinkering with things and didn't put everything in the spring. So it's been a big challenge because basically everybody here, this is really their first run through with what we're doing, and so we're throwing a lot on them. And so it's a huge challenge, especially for those offensive line, because they're getting beat up every play. Then they got to snap the ball, and then somebody's nailing them from the other side. So they got a lot going on, and so they got to continue to grow as a group and get that chemistry down. Sort of plays 5 of a kind type deals. What I know Coach Beverly talks to them all about. So it's a challenge, but they're getting there every day.